Well, one thing when Laurie Aker comes, she always has the most beautiful displays.
Well, thank you.
Not only personal display tonight, but also the display of the counter. It's just perfectly lovely.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
And let's talk a little bit about this very healthy but also delicious sounding dish.
Yes, well, again, in honor of Halloween, you know, we wanted to create a dish that was super simple to make, but still tied in those Halloween themes. So we came up with our pumpkin tabbouleh jack-o'-lanterns.
And I love tabboulehs.
Yes.
Twist on that sounds
great fun.
great
A little bit of a twist,
Okay.
yes. So let's go ahead and get started.
Let's do.
Now, to any traditional tabbouleh, we're going to start off with a little bit of bulgur.
Yes.
Now, this is what bulgur looks like when it's not cooked. It's kind of coarse and a little hard. It's found in the bulk department at the store. And bulgur is very high in iron, high in fiber. It's also packed with protein. Now you want to cook it 2 parts water to 1 part bulgur.
All right.
Just going to bring the water to a boil. Once it's at that boiling point, you're going to toss in the bulgur, put a nice lid on there, and just let it steep and let the water absorb. And when it's done, it's going to look something like this. It'll be nice and fluffy.
So it's going to absorb all that water.
All that water.
Okay.
And because bulgur is boiled, it's cracked, and it's dried, because of that process, it cooks very quickly too. So if you're tight on time, it's a perfect dish to throw on the stove.
All right.
So it's going to cook
now,
in
did
about,
you add a little salt to the water when you cooked
you
it?
can add a little bit of sea salt if you'd like, or you can use a broth even in part of the water.
All kinds of options. Okay.
You got it. But for this particular recipe, we just did a little bit of water.
All right.
So once it's done, it's going to look something like this. Now we're going to set it aside and let it cool. In the meantime, we're going to make some butternut squash. It's one of my favorite flavors of fall time. I love butternut squash. And what you're going to do is you need 2 to 3 cups of cubed squash, and it's going to be about that size, not too small, not too big. I tossed it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil and a pinch of cinnamon and nutmeg. It's really going to give it that sweet flavor and help balance out that nutty flavor of the squash. When your squash is done, it's going to look something like this.
Now, did you roast it in the oven?
I roasted it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes, and I just turned it once halfway through.
All
so
right.
it's going to
Don't you
be
love
nice and
parchment
tender.
paper? It makes
I
cleanup
love it.
so easy.
Yes, it is super simple to cook with. I love it. So we're going to add that squash right into the mix, and I'm
the
going
color's
to have
going to be so pretty.
Yes, I'm going to have you stir this up for me if you don't mind. With that nice orange, next we're going to add a little bit of green with our parsley.
Ooh.
Can't have tabbouleh without
No,
parsley.
you sure can't.
So we're going to add in
has
a
all
cup.
sorts of things that are so good for you.
Oh, yes, they are.
Now, you better watch out because this fellow likes to eat parsley, so he may just go a little more.
There you go. He can have some. That's fine.
Okay.
More than enough. So we're going to add in a cup of parsley, and I'm using Italian parsley instead of the curly parsley, only because it's not as tough and it has more of a leafier texture, which is what we're looking
works
for
better
for
for this dish.
You got it. Now, after we add in a cup of parsley, next we're going to add in about a half a cup of fresh mint. And I love mint.
Gosh.
I always say there's really that one ingredient that really pulls all the flavors
Makes it
together.
pop.
Yes, and the mint is definitely that one ingredient.
Oh,
so
and
again,
it's beginning to
half a cup.
smell so good, Laurie,
yes,
I declare.
a nice, beautiful smell. Now, after our parsley, after our mint, next we're going to add a little bit of red onion, about a cup. Now, this onion is going to help balance out that sweetness and that nuttiness from the bulgur and the squash and add a beautiful purple
In the color
color.
pretty,
yes,
too.
that's
Oh,
what I
it's
love
looking
about
like
it.
fall.
Yes. Now, last but not least, we have one more ingredient as far as the salad base goes.
Alrighty.
We are going to add in some pumpkin seeds.
Ooh.
Now, notice how I have 2 different kinds.
do,
They're both organic. I have a dry roasted pumpkin seed as well as a raw pumpkin seed. Nothing's on here. You can use either one, or you can even use half and half. You want to do half and half?
Let's do that.
All right, and this is going to add not
So
only a
this one
nice
is dry
crunch.
roasted.
This is dry
Okay.
roasted with a little bit of salt on there. And then these are the raw. Notice how they're a nice green color.
Aren't they pretty?
That's how you know they're raw pumpkin seeds or pepitas. They are nice and green, and pumpkin seeds are packed with nutrients. They're filled with copper, magnesium,
all those
zinc,
unusual
tons of
things.
iron,
Really?
and also omega-3 fatty acids, believe it or not. So they're
Gosh.
very heart healthy. They contain the good kind of fats that our bodies need. So definitely packed with nutrients.
So I hope
there.
nobody threw their pumpkin seeds away when they're
Yes,
when they're
definitely
cleaning out
save
the
those.
pumpkins.
Save those, and you can roast them up.
All right.
Now, once we get all our ingredients mixed together, we're going to put that in the fridge, let it chill for about 30 minutes or so. And in the meantime, we're going to make a super simple vinaigrette. It's made with pumpkin butter, and I love pumpkin butter.
No.
Yes.
Okay, I've never heard of pumpkin butter.
Super simple, 3 ingredients.
Just like apple butter.
Just like apple butter, but pumpkin butter, a little sweet. We're going to add in about a half a cup of extra virgin olive oil.
Alrighty.
This is going to be the base for our vinaigrette. And this is our pumpkin butter. You want to use about 3 to 4 tablespoons of pumpkin butter. We're going to add that right into the mix there.
Oh, I just think this is going to be
Yes,
dynamite.
and you can smell the cinnamon.
Yes, you
It
can.
is sweet, it's delicious. Last but not least, we're going to add pure pumpkin seed oil. Pumpkin seed oil. It's cold pressed from the pumpkin seed. Yes, and we're going to add in about maybe 2 or 3 teaspoons. We're gonna whip that up. And then we are just gonna pour it directly over our mixture. And again, we put this in the fridge for about 30 minutes and we let it cool down.
Okay.
And go ahead and give that a good stir.
Okay.
Now what really makes this a great Halloween dish is you can take bell peppers, and it's very similar to carving a pumpkin. You actually cut off the top at an angle, and you can
That's what
take
we
a
have
paring
here?
knife.
Okay.
Yes, you can take a paring knife and you can put eyes, a nose, and a mouth to make them look like pumpkins.
Whoa, look at that.
Yes, and
Okay.
we're actually going to take this pumpkin tabbouleh and stuff it inside of our bell
All
pepper
right, I think we've got it pretty well.
jack-o'-lanterns.
Okay, and you got a
it all
spoon.
mixed up. Yep, I got a spoon. You
I've got a spoon. You've got a pumpkin.
I got a
jack-o'-lantern. I've got a jack. So
and
shall
notice
we?
how there's no seeds in there. It's all hollow.
Okay.
And then you just take your spoon and you fill it on up, and this is how you serve
this
it.
is just one of the most charming things I've ever
Yes,
seen.
and you
This
can
is
get a
so
little
much
creative.
fun.
You can also use green peppers and make Frankensteins, and you can put little mushroom buttons on the side for the little knobs. You can use red peppers
And
for
see, now once we've got the
delicious
filling
doubles.
in it, we can see the face of the pumpkin a
Yes,
little
and
bit
make
better.
sure to save your top. That gives it
Oh,
that little
yes.
pumpkin effect, and you
There
can
we
serve it
go.
to your guests just like that. So super simple.
This is just way too much fun. I can't wait to try it at the end of the
They
show.
are delicious.